Hi all, I'm back with a much requested YouTube video where I'm going to talk about EC or elimination communication, and this is much requested from our Instagram post where a lot of people were just asking, what is this, how do we do it? Yes, it is one of thousands of videos on the topic on YouTube, but I think that anything that we can do to spread the word and teach what it is and what to do and how to do it would be ideal. EC, being elimination communication, is the idea that your baby can tell you when they need to either go to the bathroom or pee or poop somewhere where it's not going to soil themselves or you, and that you can learn to listen and learn about your baby's cues. And doing that, you can essentially avoid or limit the amount of diapers that you're using, and that comes with a lot of benefits as well. So why do elimination communication? Well, you get to limit the number of diapers you use for sure, and a lot of people cite environmental concerns, but I think that the most important reason why to do elimination communication is because you are actually teaching your babies some body awareness, teaching them about themselves, how to respond to their own urges. You're also deepening your interaction with your baby. You are almost completely preventing diaper rash. And another huge reason is that the way that we do it typically in Western culture is we stick them in diapers and we teach them that it's okay to soil themselves and pee on themselves and poop on themselves. And then around 18 months, when we decide they're ready, we teach them that it's actually not okay to pee and poop on themselves, and there's another better way to do it, and spend the next year or sometimes even 2 years until they're 3 years old teaching them not to do that. So those would be all the reasons why to do elimination communication, or basically working with your baby to not need diapers. The way that we did it was kind of a hybrid model. We always put her in diapers at night. She spent, and during naps, our baby spent a lot of time in diapers in the first months of life because there were a lot of accidents. And we just went with the flow. Some families choose not to use diapers at all, and that's really okay any way that you want to do it. So what helps with elimination communication? What are the elements that you need to know about where your baby is going to tell you what's going on? So number one, babies don't tend to soil themselves when they're being held by their caregivers. So if you're someone who walks around carrying your baby or baby wearing, they tend not to pee or poop on themselves in those instances. Number two, they tend not to pee or poop on themselves when they are sleeping, especially when in a deep sleep. Number three, when you take them off or out of their clothes, a cold belly tends to contract their detrusor or their bladder muscles, and they tend to want to pee when their belly is exposed to the air or to something that's colder than the inside of their clothes or your body. And number three, babies make a lot of cues when they're about to use the bathroom or need to go. One of them can be a cry, it can be a grunt, it can be a facial expression, or it can be nothing. Every baby is quite different in what they show you. But watching your baby, you'll learn the signs and the cues that they want to give you about when they have to go to the bathroom. So that leads us to the next point of how do you do this? How do you start with elimination communication? When we got home with our first and currently only baby from the hospital, even though I'm a doctor, I was completely overwhelmed. So for the first 3 days, it was just a big no. She spent the whole time in her diaper. She peed and pooped as she wanted to, and we were just trying to sort out how to just exist as new parents. And the switch can happen anytime that you want it to. We chose to make it at day 3. I wouldn't even say we chose. I was holding the baby, and she made this face that I'd seen before when she had to go to the bathroom, and I just ripped off her diaper and ran her over to the toilet, and she made a nice big poop in the toilet for us, and it was my first proud moment as a dad. But that was just how we started on this journey. We know we wanted to do it. We didn't have any idea when we would start, and that's kind of what happened to us. So you just kind of start when you're ready, when you feel like it's a good time. Typically between 0 and 4 months is a good time to start. Early enough that they don't develop the habits of peeing and pooping in their diaper regularly. Certain ways to hold the baby over the toilet. There isn't one way, there's many techniques. Some people use a toilet cover, but just in the very beginning, you can either hold the baby facing you with their legs draped over the front of the toilet seat, and you're kind of holding them under their arms, which I found easiest for the first few weeks of life when baby was just really, really sort of delicate and you wanted to hold her and give as much support as possible. But in the weeks after that, I preferred to turn the baby around with her back against my chest or my belly, and my hands were on her legs and she was facing away or towards the toilet itself. And so I found that most helpful, but there are many, many different ways to do it, and you can choose your own. The probably most important thing that you need to keep in mind if you're going to do this is never praise or scold your child. Never praise, number one, because you don't want to make this about you. Voiding and stooling is a completely natural process that's happening with the baby. All you're doing is changing the location where that's happening. So you don't want to be telling your baby they did a good job or good boy, good girl. It's not about you. Don't make it about you. You're just teaching them that this is the way that we go potty. That's all. You never want to scold if they miss in their diaper, if they pee in their diaper, poop in their diaper, poop in their pants. It's not about you. It's not an emotional thing. It's completely neutral. You're just taking them to the bathroom when you think they have to go or when they're telling you that they have to go. That's all. Another super important thing is that they will tell you when they have to go. You're not bringing them to the toilet telling them that they have to use it. So you just wait for them to tell you and you take them to the toilet. You have to do it pretty often because at 0 months or in the first month of life, essentially, they usually have to pee every 20 minutes or so, and they sometimes have up to 5 or 6 stools a day. And typically that number of stools goes down per day after that, and they're able to hold their bladder, let's say, for an hour plus or minus by the time they're 6 months. Every baby's different, but that's how often you need to be thinking about this and going to the bathroom. So it is a big time and energy investment. The timing of it is also really important. You want to take them to the bathroom as often as possible, especially if they're going every 20 minutes. But important times to consider are before bed, immediately after waking up, after feeding is a time when a lot of babies have to use the bathroom, and just pay attention to what your baby's telling you and how often they need to go. But those are good times to be going anyways. There are lots of criticisms. Some are well-founded, I think some are not, to this technique. And one is that it can be coercive. It's super important not to be praising or scolding, as I said before, but even so, there comes a time when your baby will not want to, let's say, poop in the toilet. Happened to us where we brought our baby to the toilet. We knew she had to go to the bathroom, but she just refused. She kind of figured out that she could say no. But she does not like to stool in her diaper. She hasn't ever liked that ever since we taught her this, since month number 1. And so it's just kind of a struggle of how do you help her or get your baby to use the toilet when they need to and they don't want to. And I can see where there can be some pitfalls where it can become coercive, but it's just super important that if your baby's telling you they don't want to be using the toilet now, that you don't make them do it. It's not about making your baby do anything. It's about listening to their cues and what they want. So I can see how it could be coercive, so you have to be very careful about that. Another criticism is that I've heard is that diapers are more natural. I would say to who? The diaper company, maybe they're more natural. But the most natural is to listen to your baby's cues and help them to stool and void not on themselves, which they are more than capable of doing. Another criticism is that babies have no bowel or bladder control. And I can tell you firsthand that that's simply not true. It's true, our baby right now is 9 months old. She's still peeing in her clothes and in her diapers, especially towards the end of the day when she gets tired or when she's very busy. But she's probably had anywhere between 5 and 10 poopy diapers in her whole life. So she has always had the bowel control, really from the very beginning, for us anyways. Road trips are tricky times when she's on the airplane or when, stuck in her diaper can be tricky, but overall, she's always had that control. And she still has accidents, and I wouldn't even call it an accident. She still pees in her clothes when she's not paying attention, and that's totally fine. Another criticism is that I've heard is that it takes too much time and energy investment to get this done. And to that, I'd say, yeah, you're right. We spend a lot of time on the toilet. Some of those times is when she is deciding whether she has to pee or not. And that can be very time intensive. But one thing that I've never had to do really, or the 5 and 10 times is I've not had to clean up dirty bum, never had to deal with diaper rash because we use the sink to clean and she's never wet. So that is my video on elimination communication. Thank you for watching. Hit like or subscribe if you felt that this video was useful to you, and share it with your friends if you feel it gets useful to them. I think that this is a really important topic, very underused in our society, but is definitely worth a look if you are willing to invest the time and effort it takes to learn about your baby and get this going. Thanks so much.